Let's try this again. Weapon refine predictions. We can do this. Legault with 39 HP, 45 attack, 38 speed, 24 defense, and 19 res. Hurricane Dagger got refined. And yes, Mr. Fodder himself for attack tactic, which by the way, when he became attack tactic, it blew my mind because I was just like, how could this such a good C slot be
Attack tactic, I believe was attack deck. No, it wasn't introduced on Siegbert, was it?
Huh?
No, was it introduced on Siegbert? Attack tactic?
Yeah, it was actually.
And then only a few months later, it came out on Legault. The best tactic, besides maybe speed. Just demoted to 4-star, and it's his 4-star skill. It's not his 5-star one. And I just
that was a huge surprise.
Literally,
so I'm glad
everybody loved it.
Yep, and he almost never got used because of that. Which, by the way, this has to be good refine because I hope he gets used.
Yeah, same.
So
he kind of deserves it.
Yeah. If unit initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants attack speed plus 5 to unit during combat, and grants bonus to unit's attack equals total bonuses on unit and foe, max plus 25. At start of turn, if units within 4 spaces of a foe, inflicts attack speed minus 7 on closes. Oh my god, I read it as closet. Closest foes through their next actions and grants attack speed plus 7 to unit for 1 turn. Additionally, at start of combat, if foes' HP is over 75%, grants attack speed plus 5 to unit during combat. So, it's a natural evolution of the cleaner into
more reasonable weapon. I still think the attack speed 7 might be a bit much, and I'm thinking like 6, like a normal menace, or even 5, since it's a weapon, might be more reasonable. But I think that having the idea of what kind of Legault did, where it uses both hers and her foes buffs, using that on Legault is more reasonable and more sustainable. Instead of having to literally throw yourself into the worst possible case scenario just to get your attack buffs. You can actually scale off of a more reliable stat.
Yep. And this is essentially a super cleaner. And so how much attack and speed is just by himself?
So just by himself, if we were to assume that this is like explicitly this were to be the weapon, that's plus 10, 55 attack, you get an extra 7, so 62, 14 from your own buffs, that would put you up to 76 by default, which is wow. Whereas on the other hand, his speed would go up by a flat 10 to 48, 55 with the buff, 62 with the debuff, and 66 with Swift Strike.
Yeah, it sounds insane, but you gotta remember, the Dagger heroes they've been releasing right now have all been really good. The Refines have been great, Comb has been great.
Yep.
All of them seem to be like headed towards the right direction, so I do expect Legault to get something good. Maybe not this good, but at least he will be good enough to be used.
I think it'll get close to this, because honestly, Legault, I mean, he comes a Glimmer. He's supposed to do a lot of damage, so if they scale him in a way where he reliably gets to that point, I think that's actually very realistic. And it would put him in a different situation from, say, Kaze, who's all about proccing nice specials. Legault is all about trying to actually just use his attack to kill, and I think that's very realistic.
Okay, but next we'll go for Jamke with 38 HP, 50 attack, 32 speed, 29 defense, and 17 res, the Bow of Verdane. It is Slaying, effect against flying foes. At start combat, if foes' HP is over 50%, grants attack speed, defense plus 4 to unit during combat. Yes, his res is unsavable, so why bother? And these are the important stats for him.
Yep, kind of like what the Kaze did. Screw that stat that you realistically aren't supposed to be saving anyways. Just consolidate since you're a demote.
Yep. At start combat, if unit's HP is over 25%, grants attack speed defense plus 4, so all stats but res plus 8 to unit during combat, and neutralize effects that grant special cooldown count charge plus X to foe, or inflict special cooldown charge minus X on unit during combat. Null specials. Yeah.
Fair,
you know what?
Fair.
That makes sense. He comes with Heavy Blade 3, and Bow of Verdane is I mean, it was originally a slaying bow, so give him more stats. Don't allow him to spam specials, and I think that's the idea.
Yeah, honestly, if that's the case, it makes use of his defense stat. It gives him the speed he desperately needs to actually be fast. For his heavy blade checks, he's more realistic, and there are no null guard archers, so it would carve him even a unique niche from someone like Innis. Would it make him better than Innis?
No.
But it would make him much more consistent, and I think that has its values as well. Especially if you're using like Deadeye, for example. Times Pulse Deadeye, your follow-up will always be it. So I think that's actually really concise and really nice.
Right. Okay, so with all that said, I think it's fair. I don't think it makes him a top archer, even in terms of free-to-play archers, no. But it's hard to be disappointed by it because it is his own role. Which, by the way, in terms of free-to-play archers with refines, how would you even rank the top 3?
With refines?
Yeah. Because my first is actually still Leon.
If this were the refine for Jamke, I would probably put Jamke over Leon.
Oh, okay.
And main reason being that you can just run a follow-up or an impact. Like, I know it removes the need for a skill, but there is no equivalent in Nilgard. There is an equivalent to what Leon gets, and there's more stats in Bow of Verdane anyways.
Right. So it's funny, guys. For archers, in terms of refines, there aren't very many good ones. Is unfortunate thing.
They're very early. Most of them are very early refines. So like,
Yeah.
Honestly, like Fallen Takumi is as niche as they come. If you can make it work, you make it work. Then it absolutely is great. But it's very rare.
Yeah,
The only one I think that's
I was gonna say I struggle to even put it in top 3 because the use cage is so small.
It's a very niche one, but a cool one. The only one I think that does, if this were Jamke's refine, even vie for a spot, would be Clarice. Because
wow,
so good.
Yeah, you're right. Clarice is amazing.
Yeah, for those
Also
who forget,
really
Clarice gets basically pain damage, 7 to target and foes at 2 spaces, as well as attack speed smoke, Dagger 7 style. And then she also
gets
a
sweep weapon.
Yep, gets an extra 4 attack speed, and also if within 2 spaces of a support partner, can't counterattack.
Yeah,
it's actually a pretty sick refine.
Yeah, so Clarice, and the one that you guys had mentioned, but I think is amazing, even though it's so simple, Gordon.
Oh
man. Wait, what?
Gordon.
Oh, Gordon. Wait. Yeah, that's actually pretty fair too.
Yeah.
Brave bow with attack Ephraim. Very simple, very concise, and surprisingly good.
Yep.
And
so the entire point I was trying to make here was we don't have good bow refines in the first place. No, the best free-to-play archers are like Young Innis. Like they're basically already there. There's no refines on them, or they have the stats, but they don't have the weapon, and you can just put the weapon on. So yeah, this is a small competition. So I expect Jamke to probably be, if it's somewhere like this, he's top 3 easy.
Yeah, easy. The only one I think that truly will be competing with him and probably will always win is Young Innis, and that's just because there is no Young Innis in the meta.
Yeah.
You cannot compete with him overall. Unless, by some miracle, Bow of Verdane is also Deadeye, in which case we may have to reevaluate that.
Yeah.
But I really do like that, and it would give me a justification to build Jamke, so I like it.
Yeah. No, I did mean Leon, chat. The guy who's looking for Valbar? No, he's a real character. Almost no one made him, but he could be pretty scary.
He can work. He is good with his bonfire spamming, and impact on the bow is really convenient, but he does suffer a little bit from being a little too early.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Lugh. Tome of Reason. If foe initiates combat, his stats first. 37 HP, 49 attack, 36 speed, 17 defense, 31 res. Tome of Reason. If foe initiates combat or foe's HP is over 75% at start of combat, grants attack speed, defense, res +4 to unit during combat. He had a Serpent Tome or something, right?
Yep, he had God Serpent. He was the first one with the Serpent Tome.
Yeah. And so it was just distant defense. So yeah, all stats +4 is better. And also if foes... Oh, wow, it's even better. If foe uses bow, dagger, magic, or staff, grants additional defense res +4 to unit during combat. So it's a jacked up Serpent Tome.
Yeah.
That's now dual phased.
That's actually pretty cool.
Additionally, if foe initiates combat or foe's HP is over 75%, at start of combat, grants attack speed, defense, res +4 to unit during combat, and also units res is over foe's res, reduces damage by up to 40%.
You know what? I don't know if that's what I expect it to be, but if that's what it is, that's good.
We don't really... Do we? Outside of dragons, do we have any res damage reduction heroes outside of Julius? And isn't he supposed to be a dragon or something?
Lugh is not supposed to be a dragon. Well,
no, Julius.
Julius is a dragon, effectively.
Yeah.
No, not Lugh. Not any other unit, rather.
Okay.
I don't know if I expect this, but I don't dislike it. I think it's quite good. Oh, Selkie. New
Ah,
Year's.
Selkie, you're right. Yep.
She actually
So-
did it first.
Yeah, you know, with Selkie, then I think I could buy into it. It would be the first mage with Res, outside of Julius, with
Yeah.
Res being a damage reduction factor, and with him getting so many stats, all stats +8, additional defense Res +4 if they're ranged, and then damage reduction. It's not crazy. It's honestly, you're like, oh, but that's so many stats. If it's just stats, it's not crazy. But the damage reduction does
That's what
help him.
Julius does.
Yeah, the damage reduction does help a lot. It's not impossible.
No, not necessarily. Is it likely? I think that the idea of it getting all stats +8 and maybe that extra def res +4 even is pretty fair. I
Yes.
just don't know if of all people Lugh would end up being a mage that gets damage reduction.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
if
don't
see him as
envy-
a tank.
I don't envy Shamil here because it's so hard to make a prediction on a hero like Lugh. What do you even
Lugh
base
is-
it off of?
What do you do? What do you do? Like he's so confusing in his role. Like he's Nino's son, and yet he's got
No one used him.
defensive?
He
Yeah,
was just used for rally up res fodder. Like, it was really
Yeah.
sad.
He's kind of defensive, but also offensive with his mirror stance giving attack. Like, and he has a decent speed stat. I don't know what exactly they could do with him at this point. Especially
Yeah.
'cause, like, Ray has Wolf Tome, Distant Defense, Owl Tome, dear God no, and Dull Ranged, whereas Nino has Blade Tome, Odd Attack, Even Attack Wave. I don't know what Lugh's gonna do because it seems like
They're all
Bob's kind of
different.
the family, but they're all different.
Yeah.
So the only thing I can say is I expect Lugh to overall be better than both of them. Pretty.
Yeah, I'll take that Blade Tome and I will not regret it.
Sure, but certainly better than his brother. Even if I think his brother's a little underrated. But still, I don't know if this is how it'll be. I will absolutely take it though if it is. I think that'd be great.
All right, moving on. Camilla, 36 HP, 54 attack, 30 speed, 17 defense, 30 res. The Dream Camilla with the Book of Dreams grants attack +3 if units within 3 spaces of an ally, inflicts attack speed, defense, res -4 on foes within 3 spaces of a unit during combat. I think it was 2 spaces before. I have her.
It wasn't on any, but it was just on target.
Wait,
on
what?
rain. It was just on target, not a rain.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes more sense to me. Yeah, really quickly for those who don't remember, I mean, I don't remember, and I even have her. Book of Dreams, the unit's adjacent to an ally, attack speed, defense, res. No, it is adjacent. But yeah, it is now 3 spaces. That's the big thing. That's a huge difference in range.
Did it say foes on 3 spaces or within 3 spaces of an ally? Or both?
What? This is if units adjacent to ally, and the prediction
I'm
is
looking
within
at the
3 spaces of
prediction.
an ally.
Gotta wait for it to switch back.
Wait, this is actually a really huge range.
No, it means that you're within 3 spaces of an ally to have a rain effect within 3 spaces.
Yeah. No, I was saying the original Book of Dreams was only, you had to be next to them. I was saying, like, this is such a huge
okay.
upgrade to not be
Yeah.
so restrictive.
I mean, that's basically what it has to be.
Yep.
It's kind of like what Tharja did, for example.
Yeah, Camilla was a super bond unit
step.
before chat. And for the time, Camilla being a super bond unit was cool, but now it's like no one cares.
Yeah, she did have value. Like, there was
Yes.
actual value, especially 54 attack, even now is pretty okay. And Red Mage Flyers, I mean, Verso is the only other one of note, and Camilla was way better in combat.
Yeah.
There was a value, but
Yeah.
a little tough.
All right, if you initiates combat or is in 2 spaces of an ally, inflicts attack res -5 on foe during combat, inflicts a penalty on foe's attack res during combat, equals current bonuses on each of the unit's attack res, calculate stat penalty independently. Oh, I get it. It's supposed to use the attack res link to further debuff to get more attack.
A la Dagger.
Ah.
Huh.
That's actually pretty cool.
That's a very self-synergizing refine. I think this is all extremely reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it definitely kind of tunes more into the fact that Camilla's kind of supposed to be fast, but realistically she's supposed to be all about her attack and res
Yep.
instead of speed.
To be honest, I don't think this refine saves her, but that's fine.
No.
I don't want everybody to end up being like Noe, you know?
I mean, she will be a massive mage nuke, but she just won't have the speed.
Yeah.
And she'll be pretty straightforward. There's no warping shenanigans or anything, but
Yeah, if you set her up correctly, she will hit really, really hard, so at least there's that.
yeah, I mean, just for the sake of it, 54, 58, 63, if you use attack res length, it goes up to 69, 75, 80 attack by default. Not bad.
Not bad. Festive Siegmund from Ephraim with 48 HP, 57 attack, 23 speed, 36 defense, and 29 res. Festive Siegmund is now a sling ability. Wait, it wasn't
It
Yeah.
was slaying. It was slaying all stats +4 when solo. It's actually a carbon copy of Sirius's Sable Lance.
Oh, that's funny. At start of turn, unit can move 1 extra space. Oh, okay. That turn only does not stack. I think he needs it, to be honest. That was his idea, wasn't he? Wasn't it?
He's a solo armor. How are you supposed to do that if you're not moving?
No, he was a solo armor before solo armor was a thing. There was no armored strides.
No, there wasn't. You had to use armor march, unless he has close guard.
He was so confusing, my goodness.
Yep. Cool idea. What? How do you use it?
Yep. If he initiates combat or is not adjacent to an ally, grants attack speed, defense, res +5 to units during combat. All stats +5. At start of combat, units HP is over 25%. All stats +5. And if unit deals damage to foe using a special, restores HP equals X% of units max HP. I like this. I like this lots.
That is nasty.
Yeah, surge skill on an armor. All stats +10 can move, slaying. Honestly, of how they've treated Ephraim, which is to say all Ephraims are actually really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this makes sense to me.
Actually, is very reasonable. If this is his refine, I would absolutely see it happening. Taking Solar Brace and turning it into a surge skill instead, and giving him effectively infantry movement, just perpetually. I couldn't even just see it being armored stride, but if it's as simple as just flat out +1 movement, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, he needs it, and to be honest, chat, you might be like, well, that's a bit much. Yeah, and how many infantry heroes have gotten canceled from like recent buffs and whatnot?
Also, how good have seasonal refines been recently? Just look at Holy Mer.
Yeah, and Ephraim was always really cucked from the very get-go. Like, he had an idea and he could never execute on it, so he needs this.
Yeah. Like, he has pretty decent bulk. He has amazing attack for the time. 41 base attack is awesome. And actually decent speed, considering he's an armor. But you have to be solo. There is no other option right now. So, if they could actually fix that, that is going to be a nasty armor.
Okay, with that said, let's move on to Eir, our first mythic refine of all time, with 35 HP, 46 attack, 37 speed, 14 defense, and 34 res. Lyfjaberg has now been boosted. Res +3, as it was. At start combat, units HP is over 25%. Grants attack speed, res +4 to unit during combat. Neutralizes effects that prevents units follow-up attacks during combat. And also, if unit initiates combat, foe cannot make a follow-up attack. If it was this, it would make so much sense. Her 14 defense, her switching off of Swiss Sparrow. If she doesn't get counterattacked, it would be a lot more fair.
Follow up. It's half the follow up in impact.
Never mind, I'm blind.
She already comes with impact. For those who forget, Lyfjaberg is a weird weapon. I always forget how it works.
Yeah.
But it's attack speed +4 if you are healthy, and impact if you're initiating, but you got chip after combat.
I was looking for her to run something like Windsweep because and it would be weird because you would replace Mystic Boost, which is the thing she brought to the game. So they would unlikely do that. And so I was looking for them to like give her Windsweep or something.
Yeah, something like that. Or like, I don't know. I don't know actually. But I will say, I think that removing the chip might not be the best idea. And that's just because that's actually what people like Eir for.
Air Force teams. You guys can check out my video on that, where I fought an Air Force team. The entire idea is because you could stack Fury and Fury on her, and her HP is so low, you get her into Wings of Mercy percentage instantly. And then with that, you run around and Wings of Mercy into her to initiate the entire battle. It's very interesting. It's very old school, not very much seen anymore. But yes,
I do imagine if that's not on the refine, there will be people who just don't use the refine no matter what it is, just because of that.
Yeah. Thanks for the follow, Vinegar Rat. All right. Well, with that said, if unit initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants attack speed, res +4 to unit during combat. Foe cannot recover HP during or after combat, and after combat if unit attack, deal 7 damage to target and foes within 2 spaces of target and inflicts deep wounds on them.
That is a tonal shift and a half for air.
I mean, it kind of makes sense.
It does.
From her background ish, and it would make her a very good support debuffer.
Fatal smoke,
and she's a good support.
Fatal smoke on a support unit is a reasonable support option.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you do run wind sweep, being able to poke fatal smoke and run would actually be quite reasonable for a support. Like that would actually give Eir a role.
I have no clue what she's gonna be. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys.
I have no idea.
With them switching Swift Spiral 2 to attack res unity, I already had no idea. I was like, well, this is just a complete differently. Like, what are they?
It seems like they want her to actually be a mage tank. I know that fine is gonna give her a substantial like 8-10 speed at least. I have no idea what they plan with this unit, honestly.
Yeah. So,
Lyfjaberg, if anything, is going to be what decides what Eir is actually supposed to be.
yeah.
We only know what she's getting that's improving on what she is.
Yeah. So once again, unenviable position for Shamil. This is probably one of the harder sets of heroes to guess for as the first mythic, and of a mythic who gets a weapon update, a skill update that's so different.
And where
good luck.
Lyfjaberg was already complicated, like this dagger was very hard to understand when it came out, at least for me. I
agree.
Exactly what the conditions are.
And finally, the main man himself, Hríd, with 44 HP, 56 attack, 17 speed, 36 defense, and 26 res. Gjöll, attack +3 at start combat if foe's HP is over 75%, or if penalty is active on foe. Grants attack +5 to unit during combat, attack -5 on foe during combat. That seems awfully familiar.
Where have I seen this before?
Yeah. Unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack, and foe cannot make a follow-up attack. That is so good, and it makes perfect sense with his B slot and his new C slot, attack defense menace.
Yep. Woof. Ignoring whatever the refine itself is, that would already make him good.
Yep. But again, the expectations for Hríd to become amazing because the person he's chasing is legendary Sigurd, and
he will not get that he will not ever be Sigurd as far as the oppression on the meta, but he might be a better combat unit.
He might be a better combat.
He does have a nice support effect. Remote guard on that large of an area. Woof.
Yeah, and I also think his idea is to be the in-between between Self and Sigurd. That's what it's starting to look like.
Yeah.
All right. At start combat, if unit's HP is over 25%, grants attack +5 to unit during combat, inflicts attack -5 on foe during combat, and neutralizes units' penalties to attack defense and foes' bonuses to attack defense. Okay.
Simple.
It's so simple, but it's so good. Essentially, extra 10 attack, extra -10 attack on your opponent, and then you get a guaranteed follow-up attack, and you cannot be doubled. And additionally, any bonuses to attack and defense on your opponent is gone. Any penalties on your attack and defense are gone. Yeah. This might seem really simple, but when you're this well min-max with only 17 speed and 36 defense and 26 res, and you come with this encounter, this fully utilizes his stats and allows him to be a really good dual face unit, like a preposterously good dual face unit.
I always asserted Hríd is surprisingly good considering the time he came out. He got lucky with Gjöll being already an auto follow-up and denial of follow-up with that kind of stat line. It's as simple as just doing this, and suddenly he's basically like Red Dusel. I know that Dusel's a bit old at this point, but the analogy still applies. Yep. Very tanky on both sides, res and defense, especially defense. Hits super hard, doesn't get doubled, doubles you, penalties galore, buffs galore, and on top of that, he also further controls, at least in this case, the refine buffs and penalties, making him extremely consistent.
I'm a believer in him. I gave him 5 flowers way back when, and this is my Hríd at +1. I'm gonna enjoy using him again. He's really good.
I think you are gonna absolutely murder.
Yep.
I genuinely, if it weren't for the fact that my Hríd was minus attack, I would have put work into him, but I only just recently got that fixed. So now I get to finally have full experience of him, and whew. Yeah, having an auto follow-up, denial follow-up, guard, all those stats, Yeah, he would definitely compete. He wouldn't compete with Sigurd in role, but he would be competing with Sigurd in combat 100%. And
Yep.
with Gunthra, you'll cry.
That's probably the best combination.
Yep. Ugh.
All right, chat. With all that said, though, who are you looking forward to the most? And I'm going to tell you right now, it's Hríd for me. I actually have a good Hríd, and he is the one who I'll be honest, I always thought there was no point to Hríd. His utilization in the story was poor. They kind of built him up and they never did anything with him. And as soon as he came, he went. We don't remember anything from him. Like, even with all that extra stuff with Fjorm, they did not even mention the guy.
Nope. He didn't even die, and he was introduced in the later half of the story with Ilger. Neither of those characters were in it the time book 2 was conceived. So it literally was like halfway through the story they decided that they needed more characters, so they added in Hríd and Ilger and to help Bendy.
And then never developed it. So yeah, he's the one I look forward to the most. But of course, I'm really interested in a lot of these heroes. Like, for example, I have a Camilla who's merged up, so I'm looking forward to her. Eir, I have a merged up Eir, looking forward to her. I love Nino, and so I hope Lugh for the best. Ephraim is going to be an interesting one. So all of these heroes I'm looking forward to, but we'll see.
I'm, of course, looking forward to... I think Jamke might be the one I look forward to the most because I love the Refines. I have more optimism, and I think Jamke has potential, especially since he's supposed to be good in his own game.
Yeah.
But other than that, Gjöll is probably the one I look forward to the most because... he's already good. I don't even... Like, technically, you could just use his remix and he would still be fine without a refine. That's how good he is.